he said that this is a good weekend for Storm, and apparently he meant it.
Yeah.
He's up against Mike Wicher, or Wicher, I apologize, I'm not sure how to pronounce, but he's playing a black-green deck. The sort of, it's like Jund, but without red.
Yeah.
With basically Desecration Demon and Disciple of Bolas instead of Olivia and Huntmaster, and then just all the usual like tons of removal spells, and then instead of Bonfire he has Mutilate with
Sure.
like Vraska the Unseen and Staff and Nin instead of Garruk Primal, or yeah, Garruk. So Mike's on the play, leading off with is that Golgari Guild?
Golgari Guildgate.
Because you know what? Why not?
Adam dispatched a deck not too unlike Mike's in the first round, if I'm not mistaken, against Andrew Shrout. He was playing with a little more white at Restoration Angels, but not too dissimilar in concept. Slow, lumbering Thragtusks.
So Faithless Looting, discarding Past in Flames and Burn at the Stake, which is the kill right there if he gets enough mana.
Mike's probably just going to thump down the Scavenging Ooze right here. He doesn't appear to have a second green, so there'd be no real purpose to holding it.
Scavenging Ooze is just going to tear Prosak apart, right?
If he doesn't have a solution, I don't think he has any removal in the main deck. No, other than Burn at the Stake itself, which...
That's a hard way to do it.
Yeah. He's going to have to probably go from the hand for this game. So those two that he pitched are not going to be of service. Although, if Mike spends all of his time exiling those spells, that can actually give Adam a fair bit of a leg up, I imagine.
Oh, just giving him the time he needs to just set up his hand?
Right. Good turn for Mike.
Absolutely, the pressure's going to grow.
Looks like he exiled Electromancer.
Yeah, he just wants the beats. He figures he's got time to do the other stuff later.
He's almost certainly correct. 3/3 use is also a lot better than a 2/2/1 against Adam's deck. It's much more difficult to block successfully.
There's another Electromancer. Now, does Prosak have a third land? He does. So what's Prosak trying to assemble here? You said, like, it was very revealing. You said that he's going to try to go off from the hand.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
In this case, he told me it's very difficult to go off without a young Pyromancer, so he needs to find one of those. But none of the cards in his hand are especially good at digging for them. He has that Faithless Looting in the graveyard that he might wind up getting to use. This is aggressive.
So we're seeing a Mutilate just to kill the Electromancer, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think of Mutilate before combat? Like, don't you just attack first? Like, there's no way he blocks.
Yeah, I think you should definitely attack first. It's possible Mike is a little wary of Adam's options, although I can't think of anything for a single red that would be any more or less threatening inside or out of combat.
Yeah, because even if he could do 1 damage, he could do 1 damage now, right? I mean, but either way...
Target blocking creature gets +3/+0.
Yeah, we have a Gutter Snipe. Another card that is not young Pyromancer.
Nope. Adam does have a couple of Augur Boluses in his hand, so he might be able to dig his way to the instants and sorceries he needs. He'll primarily be looking for Battle Hymn, another Burn at the Stake, assuming that one remains in the graveyard.
Meanwhile, Mike's going to drop Thragtusk most likely, but not before bringing the beats with Scavenging Ooze. No! Are these Mutavault beats?
These appear to be Mutavault beats.
Is this just because he wants to Scavenging Ooze the graveyard?
Yeah, I think he's maybe a little concerned with Adam's options. Or, he's just growing it to 4/4.
Wild. This is a very aggressive line.
It's aggressive. I'm not sure how much Mike knows about Adam's deck. Perhaps he's in fear of a Searing Spear dispatching his Ooze and wants to make sure he gets it to 4/4 as quickly as possible.
Sure.
That's reasonable. When you see mountains, it's not uncommon to think Searing Spears. No doubt I'm sure Mike's thinking, I'm X1. What's going on over there?
So there's Krenko's Command off the Augur of Bolas.
Yeah.
So that's, he's got Burn at the Stake in his hand. He's a little short on mana. What does he really need? I mean, I guess he needs, like if he plays Krenko's Command next turn, he can play a Battle Hymn and have enough mana.
Yeah. And Gutter Snipe is going to also do a fair bit of incidental damage with whatever Adam's doing, as his deck's primarily instants and sorceries and cantrips. He's got those Desperate Ravings still in the graveyard. The Scavenging Ooze hasn't gotten rid of them yet.
So is that Victim of Night?
Looks like he has a Lifebane Zombie, a Victim of Night, and a Thragtusk in his hand. So
I think it's Tragic Slip and Lifebane Zombie. Oh, no, then where's the Thragtusk?
Oh, maybe it's Tragic Slip instead of Lifebane.
Oh, okay.
Yep, okay. Well, that sets Adam back a fair bit. Although, now that all those kill spells are gone, a young Pyromancer just might live.
Yeah, I mean, at this point though, Adam is on a real short clock. Is Adam at 1? Or no, Adam's down to 8, right? No, he is at 1.
He's at 1, yeah. Needs something big. Starts with Augur of Bolus.
Yeah, but none of these cards are gonna. I mean, you can't block both of the creatures.
Needs Krenko's Command.
Okay, so he's got 2 chump blockers. Or actually, Mutavault can be blocked by Augur.
So he only really needs 1. He can even trade with the Mutavault if he wants to.
Yep.
Mike drew a nice one. Disciple of Bolus. I don't know if he wants to play it here, though. You know, he probably just wants to keep up that pressure on Adam's
Maybe you
side.
just lead with the Thragtusk first? I mean, obviously you swing with the Scavenging Ooze, whatever you do, but...
Yeah, Mike declines to offer up the Mutavault.
Well, it wouldn't do anything, because he could, at the very least, block with Augur, but if he wanted to, kill it. So it's definitely less than nothing. The Thragtusk coming down, at least it gives him a bigger life cushion, making it that much harder to burn at the stake, Plus, I mean, this is like a lot of different lethal threats.
Adam flashbacking a Desperate Raving. Desperate indeed.
Yeah, like, what's he even trying to hit here? Another Krenko's Command, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I could think of.
Because if he has Krenko's Command, at least he has enough blockers to not lose everything. Now he packs it in.
Yeah.
All right.
Did hit a young Pyromancer there at the end, though.
Yes.
A little late.
A little too late. If he would have got it a little earlier, although it would have just died like everything else did.
Yeah.
That was an impressive display from Mike Wicher's black-green mid-range deck.
Now, his deck is a little different from some of the more traditional lists we've seen in this archetype. He has a 1 Staff of Min main deck. The 1 Vraska I've seen come and go. And those are the 2 primary differences.
We've seen a lot of people not playing Lifebane Zombie in this tournament, but here we actually see 4 main deck.
I imagine it's been serving Mike well. There's a lot of Jund. Yeah. And it's a pretty good card in that matchup.
Got to imagine, though, this isn't the matchup for it, and it's getting boarded out.
Yeah, 3-1 Intimidate, not so impressive here.
So what does he have in his board for this matchup?
The 2 Golgari Charms look downright frightening. Adam's going to not want to see those cards get cast ever. Also has access to, it appears, an Abrupt Decay. Duresses, those might be worthwhile. I think Liliana of the Veil and the Scavenging Ooze are also reasonable cases to be made for those. And he does have a Doomblade if he wants more removal. He has a lot.
Yeah, because it seems like if he puts down a quick clock, particularly Scavenging Ooze, but if he puts down a quick clock and then just protects it with removal, you know, he can just power through.
Sure. You think he might side out like most of his cards that cost like 4 or 5 or more? Like I think you keep in the Thragtusk, but like you can cut out the Disciples, the Staff, the Vraska.
Yeah, like all the slow cards.
The Putrefies can be upgraded into 2-drop removal spells.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if you want more Lilianas, just because they're a little weak against Pyromancer and Krenko's Command. And he's got so many good options to choose from for removal. The one I really wonder is, does he keep all the Mutilates? Because they're good if you fall behind, but they are a little slow. I guess you still want them. Because, like...
Yeah, it's an interesting question, because he played that game very aggressively. So it stands to reason he might even be considering doing something like keeping in these Lifebane Zombies, just trying to attack his opponent to death. If that's his plan, then obviously he doesn't want the Mutilates.
But now, Prosak's going to be bringing in Mizium Mortars for sure to kill the Ooze, but he probably doesn't want Pillar though, right? Like it's too like the Scavenging Ooze is going to grow out of control too quickly.
Yeah, I don't think he brings in the Pillars. I do think he might reach for the Talrans.
Talran, the Sky Summoner.
We were discussing it. He's actually mostly boarding it because he just really likes Talran.
I was going to say, Prosak is no stranger to the Sky Summoner. He's been just playing that card just to play it, ever since it was printed.
And he hasn't stopped.
Yeah, I believe it.
But this is a matchup where it might actually be a pretty reasonable option. Obviously, Mutilate trumps it, but if your opponent's got Abrupt Decays, it's obviously not so bad to have a Talrand on your side.
Absolutely. Scavenging Ooze has taken the game by storm.
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the results of Grand Prix Detroit in a couple weeks. I think that we have not really seen Scavenging Ooze impact Modern all the way.
It's full extent.
We got a little glimpse at the World Championship, and on Moto it's definitely popping up here and there, but I think it can do more. I think that card can go in a lot of different decks, and it can threaten a lot of different decks.
Yeah, are we going to see more Scavenging Oozes than Tarmogoyfs? Scavenging Ooze definitely wins the head-to-head.
Yeah, I actually think that's possible. There are a lot of Tarmogoyf decks that also run Scavenging Ooze, but I think with all the pod decks definitely running some number of them.
Yeah, whereas they're not going to run any Tarmogoyfs.
Yeah, exactly. So that could very easily happen.
Yeah, there are some people who play 4 Tarmogoyfs and only 3 Scavenging Ooze, though, so it feels like it's going to be close.
Yeah.
I do like the Ooze better, though. I feel like it just gives you so many good options and does so many of the things that you really want right now.
It might even change which pod deck is the most dominant. I could see people moving more towards Kiki Pod or even like Archangel Feeder Pod.
Oh yeah. I like Kiki Pod more
getting away from those.
than like the Malera. Just
Yeah.
I mean, Scavenging Ooze is such a such a game changer. Already, I think we're seeing less Snapcaster mages as a result.
Sure.
Yeah, Scavenging Ooze is going to have a pretty big impact. Scavenging Ooze, like, you know how like Dark Confidant is like the black Tarmogoyf and Stoneforge Mystic is the white Tarmogoyf? I think Scavenging Ooze is the green Tarmogoyf.
Green Tarmogoyf, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not far off. He's obviously had that role in multiple decks. Over the course of Legacy, there have been many decks that ran Ooze over Tarmogoyf. It's always been very good in Maverick decks. There was that period where Rug decks were running some Green Sun Zeniths and Scavenging Oozes and Tarmogoyf, just like one or two of.
Oh, yeah.
Very peculiar, but obviously like worked out okay for them.
All right. Turn 1, Steam Vents. Are we going to see a Faithless Looting? Oh, probably an End-Step Thought Scour, right?
Yep, that's what it appears to be.
So that's a lot of land on Wicher's part. Oh, nice. The turn 1 Duress is going to make the fact that he's going to sign in Blood on turn 2 that much more effective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won't have to discard during his cleanup step for going up to 8 cards.
So Wicher's got a variety of options here. Is this, or what's that last card? There's 2 negates, a Desperate Ravings, and then 1 more card.
Looks
hidden.
like another Young Pyromancer to me.
Yeah, it is Young
Yep.
Pyromancer.
So 2 Pyromancer, 2 Negate, an Electromancer, and a Desperate Raving.
Interesting. This is definitely the type of draw where if Wicher's got a lot of spot removal, he's going to be able to put a serious hurt on Prosak. Although Prosak doesn't have a second land here.
Yeah, he's going to have to peel a land before Wicher's in any kind of a bad spot. So let's see him go to the top of the deck. Does he find one? No, bricks.
Past in Flames, not going to help. So what's Wicher need? He just wants a clock, right?
Yeah, any of his various clocks will do.
Well, Disciple of Bolas straight up is probably among the least impressive clocks I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But I guess you got to do what you got to do.
He is now at 18, which means you only need 6 creatures to burn him at the stake. It's a reasonable number to know.
So there's the second land in the Pyromancer. And
Mike with just a Guild Gate.
it looks like Pyromancer's getting in there. 2 Steam Vents. So Prosak himself at 18. What do you think comes next? Is it the Electromancer?
I think he just has to pass until he gets to a 3rd land, and then he can play Electromancer with Negate up for Mutilate. Otherwise,
right.
he risks just getting himself blown out. The problem is that obviously plays pretty reasonably into Mike's hands, as he really just wants the game to slow down until he can start dropping awesome cards.
At least Prozak's Ravings let him try to find a 3rd land and are helping advance his board by making Pyromancer tokens.
Yeah, it'll only be really awkward if he winds up pitching the Negate.
It is
Just a Krenko's
command.
Alright.
Alright, so Prosak untaps. Does he have the 3rd land? It looks like he does not. So, are we just going to see another pass?
He
decides he has to just risk it.
Yeah, okay. I can respect that. One of the pluses to this play is, like, normally you'd be setting up your opponent to go, like, Mutilate into Thragtusk, whereas by waiting until this turn, Mike's actually got to just, waste the Thragtusk turn on a Mutilate if he has it.
Good point.
But instead, he's probably just going to play the Thragtusk because he doesn't have a Mutilate.
You like Thragtusk better than Scavenging Ooze here? So I actually don't mind just going Scavenging Ooze and immediately hitting some of those flashback cards.
The only real merit I see to the Ooze is it combo plays a lot better. Like if you want to play that Disciple next turn, or if you're going to hopefully draw a Mutilate, you can play Mutilate and then Ooze. But I agree he probably needs to concern himself. It's also, very reasonable. Mike's not exactly sure what to prioritize. Adam's deck didn't really do anything in the previous game, so
now we have a second Young Pyromancer with Negate backup.
And this is where Adam wants to be. 2 Young Pyromancers in play and a Negate up. Gotta be feeling pretty good.
Interesting. So the main phase, knowing that his opponent has Negate.
Yeah, he definitely should have, at a minimum, upkeeped this, or possibly even just waited until he could present 2 counterable spells at the same time when Adam's mana strapped.
Huh. So now he's pretty much got to just, at this point, he has to play Scavenging Ooze.
Interestingly, he had a Staff of Nin. I think I would have preferred to try and bait with that.
So why doesn't he just attack with the... See, I think you lead with the Thragtusk attacking, because he'll just chump block with a token. You do this before he has 3 elemental tokens, of course, but either way, Wicher's going to fill his hand with all kinds of gas.
Yep. And now we need a few more tokens to burn at the stake, but,
yeah, but he's got to be careful. At this point, like, Prosak just kills him. if he has, you know, like, it does not take much more.
No.
He needs 2 more creatures and 2 more mana. So, like, he's not far off. If he casts...
A Battle Hymn is those 2 creatures in and of itself, plus the mana.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
If he just has Burn at the Stake and Battle Hymn, the game is over. I mean, this is... Prosak has a critical mass of stuff quickly approaching.
This deck is designed to look its best when it has a young Pyromancer in play, and it looks pretty good right now. He did just draw another negate. He has a Thought Scour, so he can start ramming if he really wants to.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a game where Prosak missed his second land drop.
Something that is notoriously deadly to do in Standard. It's just a downright mortal thing.
Well, historically, if ever there's a deck that can handle missing a second land drop, Storm decks are the one.
Worth noting is it looks like Prosak has a Battle Hymn in the graveyard and a Past in Flames in his hand. So if he just gets a Burn at the Stake, which I think he might have just drawn one, that might be the last card in his hand, he's just got him dead next turn.
Yeah,
because he can cast Past in Flames for 3.
Past in Flames costing just 3, and then the Ritual in the graveyard, the Battle Hymn, just 1. So he needs 4 mana, which he has. All he needs is the Burn at the Stake, and he wins.
Yeah, I think I think he has it. We'll have to see what Mike presents first.
Well, Wicher's definitely going to duress him.
Yep, he does have another Duress, and then he has a bunch of spot removal. So Adam has to kind of decide. Well, if he discards either the Burn at the Stake, it doesn't matter at all because he has Past in Flames.
Well, he's going to negate for sure because the Duress could take the negate anyway.
Sure.
And this just
makes sense.
And this gives information to Wicher. Plus, this way Prosak actually gets a token, 2 tokens for that matter.
And so Adam's just hoping his creatures survive the turn, and that he gets to untap and kill the opponent. I believe that last card is a Burn at the Stake. I'm not 100% though.
Yeah, with Tragic Slip and it looks like the most disruption Wicher can provide is tragically slipping a Pyromancer, an Abrupt Decaying, and Electromancer, just to try to slow Prosak down, you know, slowing his mana down.
He does need to kill the Electromancer. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, and he starts with Abrupt Decay just to make sure that it is, you know, that it is done.
This one, definitely kill this one. And Adam's like, yep. You can see the look on Adam's face. I'm pretty sure he has it if he's thinking, yuck. Desperate
But
Ravens.
this does show that it would have been better to Abrupt Decay the Electromancer before Duress, so that Prosak would not have mana to Ravings and negate.
Correct. If he decided to try and Ravings first, obviously he wouldn't be able to negate at all, and he risks losing a key combo piece. So, looks like he has another young Pyromancer in his hand. I don't actually... Cannot confirm. No Burn at the Stake. I may have seen a Pyromancer.
Scavenging Ooze, and then pull. Like he has to, you know, if in response to the Past in Flames, eat the Battle Hymn if it comes to that.
Yep, that is his only option.
But he does. I mean, Prosak's short of mana anyway. If he doesn't have a Battle Hymn in his hand, he's not going to go off this turn because now he needs 6 mana.
I think that what I saw was a third young Pyromancer as opposed to a Burn at the Stake, the gray at the top of the card. So
yeah, but with that much mana, he'd be able to Ravings a bunch of times out of the graveyard.
Yeah, could very easily potentially find the card. He has another Electromancer already.
Yeah. So yeah, what's he looking to do here? I mean. He
Looks
wants,
like
he's debating. He was going to Ravings, but he realizes, I think he's looking at that Mizzy Mortars in his hand, and I think he's thinking, maybe I can't afford to risk this.
Yeah, I think
he decides to Mortars first.
Yeah, good call.
That Scavenging Ooze is just too big of a threat. So now what's he going to do?
He's going to get rid of the young Pyromancer. So
I think the Pyromancer for 1 life?
Yeah, that's a heads up that Mike doesn't know what he's playing against. That's really all you can get off of that.
I think you got to just go after either a flashback card or the Battle Hymn. Probably the Battle Hymn.
Yeah, I agree the Battle Hymn is the clear choice. And I think that Mike will wind up realizing that, assuming Adam combos him off, as that Battle Hymn will be instrumental.
Yeah, it's not very far from Adam just starting to dome him every turn with all those elementals.
Yeah.
The Pyromancer is just going wild right now.
Past in Flames in the graveyard? It's no big deal.
Yeah, really, it's really not.
Is it Guildgate?
Yeah, and now actually Adam has enough mana. Next turn he can go off out of the graveyard alone, assuming he finds a Burn at the Stake, because he can flashback the Past in Flames and Battle Hymn.
Yeah, and he has a lot of creatures. Keep in mind the Desperate Ravings in his graveyard will be able to be flashbacked for the 1 and a red cost, which means Battle Hymn.
1 mana with the Electromancer in play.
Right, which means he can just use the Battle Hymn mana to churn through his deck for cards. He doesn't need to keep generating blue, which would otherwise, be a pretty big stopping point. And like worst case scenario, even if this, quote, fails, unquote, he can flashback that Mortars, kill another guy, like...
Did you see that? He just stopped on the Battle Hymn and lamented the Battle Hymn in the graveyard.
it appears he may have figured it out, and if you look at his hand, it's actually, his hand's not even that good just against this army of elemental tokens.
Well, yeah, I mean,
much less a potential combo kill.
So he can actually staff the Pyromancer, but that doesn't do a ton. He might just be playing yeah, he does staff. Yeah, all he can really do is staff the Pyromancer just to try to do something, and then he has 2 blockers. So at least, at least he's slowing the progression down. The problem though is that Prosak is definitely, Prosak can just go off this turn, and if he finds a burn at the stake, it's over immediately.
It's like Pyromancer land in his hand. Not quite what he was hoping to see there, but looks like he is in fact going to go for it.
There's the Past in Flames. Up next, that Battle Hymn that we were talking about. So good in this deck.
Yep, starts with the Battle Hymn. He even has a blue mana available to be able to cast one of his blue spells from the graveyard. I believe he only has Thought Scour in there.
So this is 10 mana?
As Adam kindly indicates, yeah.
The storm count is at 10.
It's going to start with Mizzium Warders.
Prosak establishing control. Good old Yawgmoth's Will control.
He's going to should have cast that Young Pyromancer first. I think he's realizing. Whoops, yep. Oh, I'll do that now.
A rare misstep from Adam Prosak.
And now he's got a few options. Desperate Ravings, okay.
Should be at 6 mana. Because he was at 10, he spent 1 on Mortars as 9, 2 on the Pyromancer at 7, and now Ravings puts him at 6.
We'll get that communicated down there. Hopefully before we progress too much further. Is that another Mizzium Warders he has in the graveyard?
Now, is that a second Battle Hymn?
No, I believe that's just the same one.
Then it can't be in his graveyard if he already cast it.
Yeah, that's why...
He has a Battle Hymn exiled, right?
Unless he Ravings it. He may have just Ravings it.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Just want to double check, make sure that he's got a second Battle Hymn in the equation here. If he did Ravings it, though, he should keep the pile separate because, remember, new cards that go to the graveyard do not have flashback.
Yeah, the most recent Battle Hymn will not have flashback. Yeah, he's indicating that.
Yeah, it's still good to make sure, it does not have flashback, so. But, hey, whatever, as long as they got it under control. Yeah, it's unfortunate that Past in Flames is worded so awkwardly, Now
Adam tanking through his options. Looks like he's just going to Thought Scour. Yeah, the only other consideration I could have seen this turn is maybe like you don't Thought Scour at the cost of whoa, we just hit a big whammy. Or did we? I'm actually not sure. It looks like we're a mana short of doing anything there at that point. He had hit another Past in Flames and Battle Hymn. He could have Past in Flames again, gotten those Battle Hymns, done some more stuff, but...
So what we really need here is a Mutilate, right?
Yeah. Mike could use a Mutilate, another Golgari Charm, but very, very little outside of that is actually going to do too much. I believe that card on the bottom, those are tokens. Now I understand what's going on. Or at least one of them is tokens.
So at this point, can Wicher really do anything besides 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9? Yeah, all he can really do is play a Thrag Tusk and
hold on.
Live through the turn if Prosak doesn't do anything. Now Prosak has another Past in Flames in the graveyard, right?
Yeah, he has another Past in Flames and 2 Battle Hymns. So if he has more spells in there worth casting, he can cast them. I know that he does have another Mizzium Warders, I believe.
Now, is that 17 creatures that he's facing, though?
That's what it looks
like. Because if he gains 5 life, he goes to 14, and he blocks 2 of the creatures, he still takes exactly 14. So I think he's dead to the board.
Oh, he has a Desecration Demon, but I guess that doesn't change anything. Yeah.
It does not help. He's a mana short of playing another Thrag Tusk and being able to live.
Yeah, that would be enough to actually get through the turn.
Now he has to just keep the mana open to be bluffing, you know,
Right.
Golgari Charm or something. Now he packs it in. All right, so they're gonna go to game 3.
Adam kind of feels like he got away with one there. I think it's like, oh, I didn't really do anything. I just made a bunch of guys, but hey, it worked out.
I mean, sometimes when you empty the warrens for 16, you get there.
Sometimes.
What a crazy deck.
Well, Mike definitely knows what's up now, having seen a few things going on. And he asks, I believe he asked for the Oracle on Burn at the Stake.
We got a reader. We got a reader.
Adam quickly tosses him a copy from his deck. Not really keeping anything on the down low.
We'll play it as it reads.
Yeah. So it looks like Mike's going to reevaluate some of his sideboarding choices.
Those negates look like solid gold on a Prosak.
Yeah, they did.
They were game winning. Well, I guess that answers the question of whether or not you want Mutilate in this matchup.
Yeah, I think we can safely say Mike's probably landed on the Mutilate side of that equation. It doesn't look from his sideboard that he was leafing through like he had boarded any out. It did look like he left out the Abrupt Decay and a couple other spot removal spells, and now he's bringing all
I was
of
going
those.
to say, I think that the Abrupt Decay, he's going to want it now that
Yeah.
Negate, you know, once he's putting Negate into the equation, because he wants to make sure that his removal, you know, does the job. Plus, at the end of the day, Abrupt Decay just costs less mana than, you know, like Putrefy or something.
Right. In this matchup, it seems basically strictly better, so...
Yeah, well, like, unless you're scared of, like, Talran,
Right.
but it's not like he doesn't have other answers, you know? Like, he's got a Victim of Night, he's got a Doomblade, he's got that Mutilate that we talked about, he's got Tragic Slip to backdoor it.
It's also just a significantly slower threat. He'll have a much better chance of having already established his own board, making the Talran, you know, way less imposing as opposed to Adam, which can legitimately threaten, you know, like turn 4, turn 5 kills.
Yeah, like if he gets, you know, if he has some quick pressure. I mean, both of these players can come out pretty hard, but there's no question that Wicher has to be the control deck, or more actually the aggro control deck. Because like if the game goes too long, Prosak's going to go off anyway.
Yeah, Prosak does have inevitability, as weird as it seems.
It's the medium game.
Yeah.
It's the middle game that Wisher's really looking for. Put down a fast clock and then just try to disrupt Prosak enough so that, you know, your early Desecration Demon, or more importantly, the Scavenging Ooze beats.
Yeah, Demon seems really unimpressive.
There's just so much food to feed to it.
Yeah, Young Pyromancer keeps it at bay pretty much single-handedly. But at the same time, I think it's better than like Lifebane Zombie probably, and I don't know if you get rid of it. I mean, I mean he does have to feed it.
That was definitely a game where it looked like the sideboard Mizzy and Mortars just worked overtime hitting that ooze.
Yeah, that was definitely a game of Adam's sideboard cards.
Yeah, Negate and Mizzy and Mortars working together, whereas we didn't really see. Well, I guess you can't tell because it's just one of every different card in
it's
Wisher's
pretty much more of the
sideboard.
same.
Yeah, what he really wants is to not fall behind a Pyromancer, and if he does, have the Mutilate.
Opens
Interesting.
up.
That was a heck of a game.
Looks like he's got like 5 lands, a Thragtusk, and something else that I can't see.
It is really tough to know when Adam is out of it or not. Like his deck it's got an unusual cadence to it. So turn 1 Steam Vents. He decides not to play it untapped to Thought Scour himself. Interesting. Now, is that indicating that he has like a turn 2 Pyromancer and wants to have Thought Scour for the Pyromancer?
I would assume that that's what it means.
Plays the Electromancer. Maybe he wants to Pyromancer and then Thought Scour the following turn? I don't know. Maybe he's just conserving his life total.
Liliana.
Wow. Yeah, you predicted he would have Liliana's, and they are looking like she looks real good right now.
I feel like once you see your opponent, you know, kind of storming off on you, it's pretty tempting to just want Liliana's, even if it's a symmetrical effect. Like they need their cards a lot more. However, against Adam, it's actually not that great because Passing Flames will let him refuel.
And he's got tokens to sacrifice?
Yeah. Like when it's good, but it definitely is a niche player. Like right now, it's kind of debatable whether Mike, you know, actually wants to plus it if his hand is just good spells. Like he doesn't want to discard a land because he wants to make sure he can play his Thragtusk. Unless he has 2. I only saw 1, but maybe he has 2.
Yeah, he generally wants to discard something.
It looks like he has another land.
Yeah,
okay.
he wants to discard something because he wants to make sure that the Liliana is big enough to be able to kill the next creature Adam plays also. Like if Adam just plays a Gutter Snipe here or something.
Adam has a young Pyromancer but passes, doesn't want to feed it to Liliana, and Mike uses that land, plays Thragtusk. One of the reasons this deck is actually pretty sweet is it doesn't really need to go past like 5 mana very often. Like it has the Staff of Nin on 6, but that's basically it. Every other card in the deck is 5 or less, and they're mostly powerful enough to hold their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here we see Mike did pass on plussing the Liliana, and Adam is content to throw away his Pyromancer as opposed to discarding a card to the cleanup step.
This is a real tough spot to be in. Adam missing his 3rd land drop, and the turn after.
Mike might be tempted to just kill the Pyromancer and boost the Liliana. Yeah, that's what he's going to do here.
Yeah, particularly since next turn he can actually disciple into his...
He could do that this turn if he wanted to play the land. Yeah,
no,
he could have played a land and discipled, drawn 5, and then pitched.
Yep.
He elected not to. I like that too. I understand the the desire to have a 5/3 versus a 3/3, but I think we would have been happier with that line.
So Thragtusk getting in there once again. Prosak on a shortening clock. Sign in blood. Jeez, this is like, even if he plays the Disciple though, he still has a 5-point clock.
Yeah. Didn't hit a land there, so that'll be the end of his turn. Unless he wants to plus the Liliana again. I think he probably should. Like, that Staff of Nin is probably not going to matter. We have every card in our hand is better than Staff of Nin.
Just Disciple, man. What do you want more in this world than a draw 5? I mean, maybe a 2-for-1, but outside of that, I think like a draw 5 is like the thing that we want most.
Draw 5 Helix.
Yeah, like just what is it? It's a Sphinx's Revelation for 5.
Electromancer. Mortars.
See, now you don't even get to do that anymore.
No. What's that? What's Adam's follow here? Just hold up the negate. It's a little dicey considering he's very likely to just lose that Electromancer, but I guess I don't know what other options he really has.
Yeah, he does lose the Electromancer. We have the beastly beatdowns. We're gonna see another Thragtusk.
Looks like Scavenging Ooze.
Start going to work on that graveyard. Yeah, Wicher wanting to make sure this game doesn't slip away with some sort of a crazy Past in Flames like last game. Yeah, he's eyeballing that battle hymn. He's like, yeah, I definitely...
If something bad happens to me, it's going to be because of this card.
Exactly, exactly.
Pass his turn, doesn't have to do anything until Adam does something.
So he's going to get to hit 2 cards. Probably, yeah, this time he says the battle hymn is the first to go. Step 1, the battle hymn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Step 2, probably the burn.
Step 2, actually read the graveyard. All right, burn in the stake.
Just make it as tricky as you can. Little as you know, Adam's got apparently burn at the hymns, or battle hymns and burn at the stakes aplenty in his hand, but no creatures to facilitate that.
Yeah. Wicher's definitely doing a good job of keeping things under control, and that Liliana is working overtime. Wicher putting Prosak on a 1-turn clock. It's going to be tough. There's that Talrand you talked about.
Yeah, both Talrands are now in the graveyard, so they won't be helping Adam out.
Does have a Krenko's Command. Oh, and an Electromancer, so he's got a few things.
He can put a little something together.
Yeah, if he goes Electromancer, Krenko's Command, and he can hold up Negate, that doesn't do a ton, but it advances the board.
Yeah. If he had, I think he might have 2 battle hymns. If he did, then like he could actually have theoretically maybe killed his opponent if he had a Past in Flames as well. I don't think.
Yeah, so he's got to wait a turn. Yeah, he's actually got a few things going on now.
He does.
Wicher cannot just oh, it looks like Wicher still has some action too, though.
Well, he's got a Sign in Blood, Mutilate. Underworld Connections, probably not playing the Underworld Connections. I don't think we have to worry about that.
And it's a Mutilate for 4 or 3, at least 3, so we'll kill everything on the board.
Yeah, I think you should probably just attack and then like mutilate just for safety's sake, you know. He's got the Sign in Blood in hand, so he can actually just kill Prosak if Prosak lets either attacker go unblocked.
That's a good point. It's possible that Prosak gets greedy, chumps the Thragtusk, and just takes the beast hit, thinking, you know, I just need everything I can to try to go off next turn.
Of course, Adam also has that negate still, right? So he
Yes.
could thwart that Sign and Blood plan if that's what Mike goes for.
Yep,
Mike, buddy, you got to at least attack before you mutilate, right? Like I can't think of a reason not to. I guess he's concerned about like Electromancer or Goblin blocking his Thragtusk. That seems like a really loose concern. Like, because if that happens, you don't even need to mutilate anymore.
Yeah. Prosak does negate.
Yeah. Look at him, he feels so suave. Just put that negate in the graveyard.
He does block only the Thragtusks, so now Prosak goes to 1 life. So
Yep.
Sign and Blood is lethal next turn. But Prosak is going to try to win this turn.
Drew a young Pyromancer, is that enough?
So
I
he
don't
goes
think
Pyromancer, then he casts Battle Hymn. He has 4 mana with 1 more land, so he has 5 mana. Then if he actually has a second Battle Hymn, that brings him up to 9 mana. I mean, he needs something to do with it. Does he have Burn at the Stake or Past in Flames?
He has Burn at the Stake in his hand, but I don't think he can make enough tokens. If he had a Past in Flames in his graveyard or something, then he could definitely do it. I think that would just be flat out enough mana.
Alright, well he's got 4 mana, access to 5. Battle Hymn again will give him 5 creatures and take his mana count up to 9.
It's possible he's just burning a beast token here and hoping he can chump to live. Yeah, I feel like he just came to terms with it right there. It's like, yeah, this is happening. Hope I'm not dead.
Wait, does that even help?
He thinks he thinks that now he only have to chump block once. Maybe he can actually start lowering the clock, cast the Burn at the Stake next turn.
Oh, he has another Burn at the Stake?
Well, if he hits a Past in Flames or another copy.
Well, I don't think he has any more Past in Flames in his deck. He's only got 2 in his deck. Has he played both? Or
he hasn't done anything.
Okay.
He hasn't played either. They're both still in the deck.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was Burn at the Stake that was exiled, not Past in Flames.
Yeah. Adam chump blocks as predicted with an elemental token. Mike plays Disciple of Bolas.
Yeah, and Wicher definitely. I'm sure Wicher sees the Sign and Blood kill. I think he's just seeing if he can set it up with like a duress or something. So there is another Sign and Blood. So he's got access to 2 different. He can do it again next turn if somehow the game lasts 1 more turn.
Oh.
But he's going to try the Sign and Blood now, and he's going to be victorious.
Would you like 2 cards?
Mike Wicher puts Adam Prosak into retirement, advancing to 7-1 with black-green mid-range. The Rock and his millions, defeating Adam Prosak's blue-red Pyromancer Storm deck.
It's the end of the Cinderella road to top 8 for Adam. A very sweet deck. Had a couple mana stumbles in those games, and that's not really where you want to be against the Rock. It just wants some time to put you in the bind.
Yeah, and honestly, just Scavenging Ooze is a pretty beastly threat, but that game we saw he stumbled on mana 1 game. Actually, both games he stumbled a little bit, but you kind of know what you're signing up for when you play a deck with 21 lands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So